All right, I guess the audio wasn't on. All right, folks. Sorry for the late start, but welcome back. Let's get started. Um, Firstly, let's look at our economic calendar. Of course, yesterday there was no trading, so let's see. For Tuesday, here's what we got. 9 a.m. we've got HPI month over month, and at 9 a.m. we also have S&P/CS Composite 20 HPI year over year. Neither one of these should be groundbreaking. They should just come and go. But at 10 o'clock Eastern, we have CB Consumer Confidence, which should be important. So at 10 o'clock Eastern, we should get some impact from that report. Other than that, that's it. Not a lot for today. Also, let's go ahead and take a look at what stocks were moving on Friday. Let's get right to it. So, we had a lot of stocks moving on Friday. Let's firstly review what was going on in the market. So here we have on the screen the QQQ in the middle of the screen. And as you can see, on Friday, this was a pretty good trend. Okay. Now, again, in the coaching room, I go over this all the time that a trend is a trend is a trend, right? So if you got something strong like this going on, that means that the index is going like this. A lot of stocks are moving. So let's take a look at what stocks were specifically moving. And there were too many to list, by the way. So I'm just going to run through some of the performers that we specifically looked at. So here's PDD. That was able to get to target number one, which was 70.71. It did not reach 72.91, which was target number two. Next up, we have Meta, which was able to reach target number two, which was target number two was 260.10. Reached that towards the end of the day. Next up, we've got Marvel, which was able to greatly exceed target number two. Target number two was 61.41. Marvel was able to get above $65 a share by the time we got to the end of the session. In fact, it got to target number two within the first half hour of the session, so pretty good move there. Next up, we have INTC, which has been in and out of good performance recently, but here's INTC able to reach target number two, 28.35, pretty early in the session, then greatly exceed that, able to surpass $29 a share before the end of the day. Next up, we have Microsoft. Microsoft also was able to surpass target number two of 330.75, ultimately reaching a high just under $334 a share. We had Applied Materials, AMAT, which was able to reach target number two of 134.66 and then trade above 136 before the closing bell. Apple was not able to do quite as well. This was actually very notable that Apple did not demonstrate an extremely bullish trend. It was bullish. It reached target number one of 175.13, but not able to reach 176.94. It's very unusual that Apple is not able to keep up with the rest of the NASDAQ, which kind of shows some weakness in Apple itself. The NASDAQ by itself, the QQQ, in comparison, the QQQ in comparison was actually able to reach its target number two of 346.90, which is not very usual. That's unusual for an index to go that far. So I was able to reach 346.90 and then trade above 349 before the end of the day. So for Apple to lag that far behind, it has some catch up to do. Maybe you'll do that today. We'll see. Next up, we've got NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA was only able to get to target number one of 386.75. So once again, here's another stock that's showing some weakness behind the rest of the index. 394.60 was target number two. Now, after the bell, however, NVIDIA did surpass this pre-market, I should say, excuse me. NVIDIA has been able to surpass target number two from Friday. So it looks like they just decided to do all that today for whatever reason, or this pre-market. Qualcomm was able to greatly exceed expectations. 107.81 was target number two. It blew past that within the first hour of the session. Ultimately able to trade above $111 per share. So super bullish day for that. Then you had Cisco, CSCO, which was able to reach target number two pretty quickly within the first half hour of the session to $49.95. Then after that, Cisco did what most stocks do at target number two. It just went flat. So that's normally what happens. But on Friday, a lot of stocks greatly exceeded their target number two. Amazon was able to surpass target number two of 119.29, ultimately trading up to a high just over 121.50 a share. Airbnb was able to reach target number one, which was 107.08. Did not get anywhere close to target number two of 108.98. However, so again, another stock showing some weakness compared to the rest of the index as far as its overall performance. Tesla had a really good day, and it needed it. Tesla's been beat up recently, but it's been coming back sharply. So 192.76 was target number two. Tesla was able to surpass that, ultimately trading up to a high of 198.60. So on its way close to $200 a share in the pre-market, Tesla is already trading. It traded just above $200 a share so far, trading currently at 200.4. Reached a high of 201.78 in the pre-market today. So Tesla looking pretty good. Next up, we have Rivian, which also had a good day. Was able to pass target number one of 15.11, but peaked out at approximately 15.45. It did fall short of reaching target number two of 15.57. Okay, then EFTR, I'll skip that one. That one, when it opened, it was back below $1. CrowdStrike, another stock that did pretty well, able to reach target number two of 157.39. Let's see. Still going down my list. GCT, one of the cheaper stocks, but a strong mover, went from 592 up to a high of 750 a share in the earlier part of the session. WLDS was able to trade up from a gap down to 111 up to a high of 168 early in the session. Riot Blockchain started off the day fairly solid. It was able to pass target number one of 1163 on its move up, peaking out at 1185, so well short 1216 a share, which was target number two. However, after this, as you can see, a sharp reversal, leading it down below the price range for the time between that day's open and the previous session's close, which of course means that it reversed altogether and almost traded down to target number one to the downside of 1059. Didn't get extremely close, but it got at least 2/3 of the way there. So pretty sharp reversal for Riot Blockchain. And I mean, there were some others. There were some other stocks too, but they didn't really do much. So that was about it. We didn't have any good bearish cases. Usually every day you have at least one or two stocks that are really bearish, but on Friday, not really. There are obviously some stocks that were down, but nothing that was too crazy. So let's take a look at what's moving pre-market today, since we're almost to our time before I have to run here. So in the pre-market today, let's see what stocks we find. All right, WLDS looks like it is active pre-market, currently trading up 17% on 2.7 million shares, which means we will watch that, add that to our pre-market and opening bell list to see if we can find any opportunities there. Now, Tesla is moving pre-market. It's only up 3.8%. I'm not saying that's tiny, but it's not large enough for what we're looking for. We want something that's up 6% or more, or down 6% or more. Ideally, the more the better. So 4.3 million shares, good volume. I'm not going to add Tesla to our opening bell or pre-market list. It's already on our list, our regular watch list anyway. So I'll just save that space for something else. And maybe that will be LXRX. Let's see. Yep, LXRX up 10.69%, 1.8 million shares. That does qualify. Doesn't look like it's moving extremely active right now, but it's worth looking at. So we'll keep that on the radar. Looks like SoFi is a little active now. SoFi is up enough percentage-wise and volume-wise, but the only thing I don't like about SoFi, which is typically the case, is that it typically does not trade in a very wide range, meaning that you'll have a big move in SoFi being like 20 cents for a day. In my strong opinion, you don't want to trace after stocks that can only move 20 cents if it's a good move for an entire day. So nice looking movement, but not really the type I'm looking for. So I'll skip that. But if you want to look at it, you can, but it's probably not going to generate much for you. NVIDIA active, but not up enough. It's only up 4.3%. Perhaps at the opening bell it'll be up more, but NVIDIA is already on our regular watch list anyway, so we'll see it if it's doing something interesting at the opening bell. Other than that, looks like we got BEAT, B-A-T, which is currently up 35%, almost 2.4 million shares. So we will definitely add that to our radar. BEAT. Let's take a look at a few others that are mentioned here by Jeffrey. We've got ACON. That looks like a good one. 152% up on 10.2 million shares. Definitely will have that. That's also moving now in the pre-market, so there's some opportunity in the pre-market for that. Next up, we've got IOVA, which is currently up 19.6% on 1.3 million shares roughly. So we will add that to our pre-market radar. Not really moving that well, but perhaps at the opening bell, it will find its footing. Okay. Mara, let's take a quick look. Mara, not up, and it's just on the cusp of being up enough. Since Mara is already on our regular list, at least it should be. Let me double check. Should be there. Yeah, it's there. So since Mara is already on a regular list, I'll leave that for. I'll see if it's moving at the opening bell anyway. And I think we already covered WLDS. Yep. All right, so far we've got WLDS, LXRX, BEAT, ACON, and IOVA as our stocks. Any other NASDAQ stocks that are trading at least $1 per share? Volume has to be over at least 1 million shares traded in the pre-market session right now. And also, of course, we need a significant change in price, at least 6% of a change up or down. So TO is mentioned. Let's take a look. That looks like it's probably a contender. It definitely is moving up right now. Yep. Just got over the limit for volume and up 24% and still active now. So that is a good find. Bill. So we'll add TIO to our list. Got about 1 minute here. Any other stocks, folks, that are NASDAQ, traded at least 1 million shares, traded in the pre-market, at least a 6% price change, trading over $1 per share. Any other stocks that meet those 4 criteria that you folks see, just let me know in the chat, and we will take a look. All right. Okay, so remember, we only have economic data that's really important coming out at 10 a.m. Lloyd mentions ELEV. Let's take a quick peek at that. Okay, so Lloyd, it doesn't look like that's moving much. So here it is. It's only traded 183,000 shares, so that's not a lot of volume at all, and it's not moved any greater than 6%. So this would not qualify. This just doesn't. I mean, maybe it does something at the opening bell, but it's not doing anything in the pre-market, so that wouldn't put it on our radar for pre-market to the opening. Any other stocks, folks, that meet our criteria? Remember, we need a stock that's at least a 6% change in price, at least 1 million shares that have traded pre-market. Of course, that's to be a NASDAQ stock, and it has to be trading over $1. So this meets 2 of those criteria, but it doesn't meet the percent change nor the volume. So any other stocks, folks, in the next 10 seconds? Otherwise, I'll have to depart. All right, so I'll wrap up the pre-market pulse then. Welcome back. Hopefully everyone had a good holiday weekend. For those of you who are new to our channel, be sure to like and subscribe to our videos. Of course, if you have any friends that trade, be sure to refer us to them. Our subscribership is growing very rapidly, so I'm glad you guys are finding value in our content. Also, to learn more about our company, be sure to check out fundertrading.com, our website, to learn more about how we fund traders. And lastly, for those of you who are in the coaching room, we'll be starting in about 15 minutes or a little bit less than that perhaps. So I'll see you guys there. All right. Everyone have a great trading day, and I'll see everyone tomorrow for the pre-market pulse. And for those of you in the coaching room, I'll see you shortly. Thanks, guys.